A month after switching over to the Trinamool Congress from the Congress and just weeks ahead of the assembly elections there, former Goa MLA, the Reginaldo, on Sunday quit Mamata Banerjee's party as well. Now, he was an MLA and has been there for quite some time, was the working president of the Goa Congress as well. And when he quit the party, the state assembly right there in December. He did not give any particular reason in the letter that he sent to Ms. Banerjee in the TMC informing them of his decision to actually leave Trinamool. Meanwhile, Michael Lobo, who recently also quit the BJP and joined the Congress party, has appealed for the return of his former colleague to the Congress as well in this very interesting musical chairs that MLAs and candidates are playing there in Goa. Saurabh Gupta joins us for the very latest on this story. Saurabh, we had spoken earlier on how Goa is such an interesting space where there are so many candidates and several parties there. There is no bipolar or tripolar fight that is going on. In midst of that, this musical chairs that these very established leaders in the state need to be playing, do we have reasons for that?
Well, there are three things in this particular development. One is, of course, it's a jolt for the TMC simply because he was one of the biggest leaders to have joined the TMC, which is a fledgling party in the coastal state. That's one. So his leaving the TMC does, of course, give it a jolt in terms of its plans for Goa. Now, secondly, let's come back to the Congress, which Mr. Reginaldo quit and then went and joined the TMC and now has quit the TMC. And in all likelihood, he may be headed back to the Congress, is what we're being given to understand, simply because of the fact that even Michael Lobo, who joined the Congress, has welcomed him back into the Congress fold. But the Congress itself has been very quiet on this issue. There's been no statement from the Congress. And why is that? There is a reason for this. Now, Curtorim is the seat where Reginaldo is a three-time MLA from. And in that seat, there's another person, and this is again, when you talk about politics in Goa, this is how interesting it can be. There's somebody called Mr. Moreno Rebello, who also quit the Congress, went to BJP, joined in the presence of Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, then quit the BJP and came back to the Congress. And he's been campaigning in the Curtorim seat because, remember, initially when Mr. Reginaldo had quit, the Congress had already given him the Curtorim ticket. So now, Mr. Rebello is another hopeful of the Curtorim seat ticket. And now if Mr. Reginaldo comes back to the Congress, then that seat will have at least two people vying for a ticket. And can they afford to again perhaps quit and go back to any other party? Well, that's not quite impossible in Goa. But again, so this seat becomes very interesting. Congress has a choice. It has a choice between Mr. Reginaldo, whom they had given the ticket, who had quit and gone to the AITC and now could be headed back, but the Congress is quiet on this. Or they choose Mr. Moreno Rebello, who had quit, gone to the BJP and has come back to the Congress.
I see. Interesting indeed. Thanks, Saurabh, so much for joining us with the very latest on that story. So, first quit the BJP, then went to the TMC, now could be making his way back to the Congress again. Interesting play out there.